What if the voice in your head isn't actually you, but the very thing holding you back? In this powerful audiobook summary of The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, you will discover how to separate yourself from your thoughts, break free from constant overthinking, and finally experience true inner peace. If you've ever felt trapped in your own mind, stressed without reason, or unable to control your emotions, this video is made for you. Stay till the end, because what you're about to learn can completely change how you see yourself, your thoughts, and your entire life. In The Untethered Soul, Part 1, Awakening Consciousness begins with a deeply unsettling but powerful realization. The voice constantly talking inside your head is not who you truly are. Most people go through life completely identified with this inner voice, believing every thought, every worry, and every narrative it creates. But the book challenges this assumption by showing that if you can hear the voice, then there must be a deeper you that is listening. This shift in perspective is the starting point of true self-awareness. Imagine sitting alone in your room, replaying a mistake you made years ago, criticizing yourself over and over. Who is speaking and who is listening? That moment of awareness, when you notice the voice instead of being consumed by it, is where awakening begins. The book introduces the idea of the inner roommate, that constant narrator that comments on everything you do. Sometimes it encourages you, but often it judges, compares, complains, and creates unnecessary stress. For example, you post something on social media, and within seconds your mind starts saying, "What if people don't like it?" or "That wasn't good enough." Instead of enjoying the moment, you become trapped in a loop of self-doubt. According to the book, this voice has been conditioned by your past experiences, fears, and habits, but it is not your true identity. The real you is the observer, the one who can step back and watch these thoughts come and go. This idea becomes even clearer through simple daily situations. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. One part of you is frustrated, complaining, and getting angry, but another part of you can notice that frustration. That noticing presence is calm, unchanged, and always there. The more you learn to rest in that observing awareness, the less control your thoughts have over you. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin to respond consciously. This is the essence of awakening consciousness, realizing that you are not your thoughts, but the awareness behind them. The book also explains how most of our suffering comes from being completely entangled with this mental chatter. When someone criticizes you, your mind replays it again and again, adding its own interpretation, making it worse than it actually is. But if you can observe the reaction instead of becoming it, you create space between you and the pain. For instance, if a colleague gives negative feedback, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you can notice your mind's reaction and choose how to respond. This simple shift can transform your emotional life. A practical way to apply this is to start observing your thoughts like you would watch clouds in the sky. You don't try to stop them or control them. You simply notice them. The next time you feel anxious, instead of saying, "I am anxious," try saying, "I notice that my mind is creating anxious thoughts." This small change creates distance and reduces the intensity of the emotion. Another technique is to pause throughout the day and ask yourself, "What is my mind saying right now?" This question brings you back into awareness and breaks the automatic cycle of thinking. Reflect on this. If your thoughts suddenly went silent, would you still exist? Who is aware of your thoughts right now? Are you the voice or the one hearing it? These questions are not just philosophical. They are tools to help you directly experience the difference between your mind and your true self. The more you explore this, the more freedom you gain from unnecessary stress and overthinking. Main points and actionable lessons. The voice in your head is not your true self. You are the awareness that hears it. Most suffering comes from identifying with thoughts instead of observing them. Start noticing your inner voice as a separate entity, like an inner roommate. Practice observing your thoughts without reacting to them. Use simple techniques like labeling your thoughts or asking reflective questions throughout the day. In real life, apply this when facing stress, criticism, or overthinking by creating space between you and your reactions. The more you practice awareness, the more control and peace you will experience. In The Untethered Soul, Part 2, Experiencing Energy takes the idea of awareness a step deeper by showing that your inner world is not just thoughts, but a constant flow of energy moving through you. This energy is most noticeable in your emotional reactions. Whenever something happens, someone criticizes you, ignores you, praises you, or even looks at you a certain way, you feel a surge inside your chest. Sometimes it feels warm and open, like joy or love. Other times it feels tight and heavy, like anxiety, anger, or fear. Most people don't realize that this is energy moving through their system, and instead of letting it pass naturally, they resist it, suppress it, or try to control it. That resistance is what creates long-term emotional pain. The book explains that from a young age, we begin to close our cells to protect against uncomfortable energy. For example, imagine a child who gets laughed at in school. In that moment, a wave of emotional energy rises: embarrassment, hurt, vulnerability. Instead of allowing the energy to pass, the child unconsciously tightens up inside and builds a protective wall. Over time, these walls accumulate. As adults, we might avoid speaking up in meetings, hesitate to express feelings, or feel anxious in social situations, all because of these stored energies from the past. The problem is not the situation itself, but the unresolved energy we've trapped inside. A powerful insight from this part is that life is constantly trying to move energy through you, but your resistance blocks that natural flow. Think of it like a river. When the river flows freely, everything is smooth and alive. But if you place obstacles in it, the water becomes stagnant and pressured. In the same way, when you resist emotions by distracting yourself, overthinking, or shutting down, you create internal blockages. For instance, if you feel nervous before a presentation, your instinct might be to avoid it or distract yourself with your phone. But the book suggests a completely different approach. Relax and allow the energy to pass through you without resistance. Instead of saying, "I don't want to feel this," you let yourself feel it fully without labeling it as good or bad. Consider a real-life scenario. You receive a harsh message from someone close to you. Instantly, your chest tightens, your heart races, and your mind starts reacting. Most people either suppress this feeling or explode in response. But what if, instead, you pause and simply observe the energy rising inside you? You might notice the tightness, the heat, the discomfort. By staying present and not resisting it, the energy begins to move and eventually fades. This doesn't mean you ignore the situation. It means you don't let the energy control your reaction. You respond from clarity instead of emotional turbulence. The book also introduces the idea of the spiritual heart, which is not just a metaphor but a center of deep openness within you. When you stop resisting energy, your heart naturally opens, and you experience life more fully. You become more sensitive, more alive, and more connected. However, this openness can feel risky because it makes you vulnerable. But the truth is, closing your heart doesn't protect you. It limits your ability to experience joy, love, and peace. For example, someone who has been hurt in relationships might choose to emotionally shut down to avoid pain. While this may seem safe, it also blocks the possibility of deep connection and happiness. To apply this in your daily life, start by noticing when you feel emotional discomfort. Instead of immediately reacting or avoiding it, take a moment to relax your body and breathe. Allow the feeling to be there without trying to change it. You can even say to yourself, "I am willing to experience this energy." Over time, this practice reduces your fear of emotions and increases your ability to stay centered in any situation. Another practical step is to observe your patterns of closing. Do you withdraw when criticized? Do you become defensive? Do you distract yourself when uncomfortable feelings arise? Awareness of these patterns is the first step to breaking them. Reflect on this. What emotions do you tend to avoid the most? When you feel discomfort, do you try to escape it or face it? What would happen if you allowed yourself to fully experience your emotions without resistance? Are you living with an open heart or protected one? These questions can help you uncover the ways you block your own energy and limit your experience of life. Main points and actionable lessons. Your inner world is made of energy, not just thoughts, and emotions are the expression of this energy. Resisting or suppressing emotions creates blockages that lead to long-term suffering. Most people unconsciously close themselves to avoid discomfort, but this also blocks positive experiences. Life is constantly trying to move energy through you, and your job is to allow it without resistance. In real situations, pause and observe emotional energy instead of reacting immediately. Practice relaxing and letting feelings pass naturally. Notice your patterns of avoidance or defensiveness and consciously choose openness instead. By allowing energy to flow freely, you develop emotional resilience, inner peace, and a more open and fulfilling experience of life. In the Untethered Soul, Part 3, freeing yourself takes everything you've learned about awareness and energy and turns it into a direct challenge. If you truly want freedom, you must learn to let go. Not slowly, not someday, but in the exact moment life triggers you. The book argues that most people are not trapped by the world around them, but by the attachments they hold inside. These attachments are like invisible hooks, memories, fears, expectations, and emotional wounds that get pulled every time something reminds you of them. Imagine someone criticizing you in front of others. The situation lasts a few seconds, but the emotional reaction can stay with you for hours, days, or even years. Why? Because it hits an inner thorn that you've been carrying, a sensitive spot formed by past experiences. Instead of removing that thorn, most people spend their lives trying to avoid anything that touches it. The book flips this approach completely. It says that life is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to show you where you are still holding on. Every uncomfortable moment is an opportunity to release something stored inside you. For example, imagine you are scrolling through social media and see someone more successful than you. Instantly, a feeling of insecurity arises. Your mind may start comparing, judging, or even criticizing that person to feel better. But instead of following that pattern, what if you use that moment to free yourself? You notice the discomfort, the tightness, the urge to react, and instead of resisting or indulging it, you simply let it pass. You don't push it away, and you don't feed it. You just allow it to move through you. That is the act of freeing yourself. One of the most powerful ideas in this section is that letting go is not about losing something valuable. It is about releasing what is limiting you. Think of holding a heavy object all day. At some point, you forget that you're even holding it, but it continues to drain your energy. The moment you drop it, you feel immediate relief. In the same way, your emotional baggage weighs you down, even if you become used to it. The fear of letting go often comes from the belief that these attachments define you. But in reality, they are just patterns you've accumulated over time. Consider a real-life scenario. You're in an argument with someone close to you. Your mind insists on being right, replaying what they said, building your case, and fueling your emotions. At that moment, you have a choice. You can either continue feeding the conflict or let go of the need to be right. Letting go doesn't mean you agree with them or suppress your voice. It means you release the emotional charge that is controlling you. You respond from clarity instead of ego. This shift not only improves your relationships, but also brings a deep sense of inner freedom. The book also emphasizes that pain is not something to avoid, but something to understand. Pain arises when your stored energy is being touched, and instead of running from it, you can use it as a doorway to freedom. For instance, if you feel rejection after not getting a job or losing an opportunity, your instinct might be to distract yourself or blame external factors. But if you sit with that feeling and allow it to be there without resistance, it begins to dissolve. Over time, this practice reduces your sensitivity to external events. You become more stable, more peaceful, and less dependent on circumstances for your happiness. To apply this in your daily life, start by recognizing your triggers. Notice what situations consistently disturb you: criticism, rejection, comparison, failure. When these triggers arise, instead of reacting automatically, pause and observe what's happening inside you. Feel the energy without labeling it or trying to change it. Remind yourself that this is an opportunity to let go. Another practical step is to question your attachments. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to right now? And is this helping me or limiting me? By consistently practicing this, you gradually weaken the grip of these attachments. Reflect on this. What are the things that trigger you the most? Are you trying to control life to avoid discomfort, or are you willing to face it and grow? What would your life look like if you stopped holding on to past pain and future fears? Are you ready to let go, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment? These questions can guide you toward deeper self-awareness and freedom. Main points and actionable lessons. True freedom comes from letting go of inner attachments, not controlling external situations. Emotional pain is often caused by stored inner thorns that get triggered by life events. Instead of avoiding discomfort, use it as an opportunity to release trapped energy. In real situations, pause and observe your reactions instead of feeding them. Let go of the need to be right, to control outcomes, or to hold on to past experiences. Practice noticing your triggers and consciously choosing to release them. By consistently letting go, you reduce emotional suffering and experience greater clarity, peace, and freedom in your daily life. In the Untethered Soul, Part 4, Going Beyond pushes you to confront one of the deepest illusions you carry, the belief that the world you experience is solid, fixed, and defined by your personal story. The book explains that most of what you think of as reality is actually filtered through layers of past experiences, beliefs, and mental constructs. You are not just seeing life as it is, you are seeing it as your mind interprets it. For example, two people can go through the same situation, losing a job, ending a relationship, or receiving criticism, and have completely different reactions. One sees it as failure and feels broken, while the other sees it as an opportunity and grows stronger. The external event is the same, but the internal interpretation creates a completely different reality. This shows that your experience of life is not determined by what happens, but by the meaning you attach to it. The book invites you to go beyond these mental interpretations and see life more directly, without the constant overlay of your conditioned mind. Imagine watching a movie through a scratch lens. Every scene appears distorted, not because the movie is flawed, but because the lens is. In the same way, your past experiences, fears, and expectations act like that lens, shaping everything you see. For instance, if you've been betrayed before, you might carry a subtle fear into every new relationship, constantly looking for signs of dishonesty. This doesn't just affect how you feel. It affects how you behave, often creating the very outcome you fear. Going beyond means recognizing that this lens exists and learning to see through it instead of being controlled by it. Another powerful idea in this section is that nothing in life is as permanent or solid as it appears. Everything is constantly changing. Your thoughts, emotions, circumstances, and even your sense of identity. Yet, your mind tries to create a false sense of stability by holding on to certain beliefs and narratives, such as "this is who I am" or "this is how things will always be." For example, someone might define themselves as not confident because of past experiences. Over time, this belief becomes so fixed that they stop trying new things, avoiding opportunities that could actually change their reality. The book challenges you to let go of this false solidity and realize that you are not confined by your past. You are part of a constantly evolving process, and your identity is far more fluid than you think. To make this practical, consider a moment when something doesn't go your way. Maybe a plan fails, or someone doesn't respond the way you expected. Instead of immediately labeling the situation as bad or unfair, pause and observe how your mind is interpreting it. Notice the story it's creating. Then ask yourself, is this the only way to see the situation? This simple question can open up new perspectives and reduce unnecessary suffering. Another approach is to become more present in your daily life. When you're eating, walking, or talking to someone, try to fully experience the moment without mentally commenting on it. This helps you step out of your mental filters and connect more directly with reality. A relatable example is when you revisit a place from your past. The place itself may not have changed much, but your experience of it feels different because you have changed. This shows that your perception is not fixed, it evolves with your awareness. By going beyond your conditioned mind, you begin to experience life with more clarity, openness, and freedom. You are no longer trapped in repetitive patterns of thinking and reacting. Instead, you become more adaptable, more resilient, and more aligned with the flow of life. Reflect on this. How much of your current reality is shaped by your past experiences? Are you seeing life as it truly is, or through the lens of your beliefs and fears? What labels have you given yourself that might be limiting your growth? If everything is constantly changing, why hold on so tightly to fixed identities and expectations? What would it feel like to experience life without constantly interpreting it? Main points and actionable lessons. Your experience of reality is shaped more by your interpretations than by external events. The mind creates a lens based on past experiences, which can distort how you see the present. Nothing is truly fixed or permanent, including your identity and circumstances. Letting go of rigid beliefs allows you to experience life more freely. In real situations, pause and question your interpretations instead of accepting them as absolute truth. Practice being present and observing life without constant mental commentary. Challenge limiting labels you place on yourself and remain open to change. By going beyond your conditioned mind, you gain clarity, flexibility, and a deeper sense of freedom in how you experience life. In the Untethered Soul, Part 5, living life brings everything together and answers the most important question. Once you understand your mind, your energy, and how to let go, how do you actually live day to day? The book presents a radical but practical idea. True happiness does not come from controlling life so that everything goes your way, but from deciding that you will remain open and at peace no matter what happens. Most people live with a hidden condition. I will be happy when things go the way I want. But life rarely follows your exact expectations. Plans fail, people change, and unexpected challenges appear. If your happiness depends on everything being perfect, you will constantly feel unstable. This section teaches that instead of trying to control the outside world, you can choose how you respond internally. Imagine waking up and deciding that no matter what happens today, traffic, criticism, delays, or disappointments, you will not close your heart. For example, you are having a good day, and suddenly someone speaks rudely to you. Your instinct might be to react, defend yourself, or carry that negativity for the rest of the day. But what if you chose to remain open instead? You acknowledge what happened, but you don't let it disturb your inner state. This is not about suppressing emotions. It is about refusing to let external events dictate your internal experience. Over time, this practice creates a powerful sense of stability and freedom. The book also introduces the idea of non-resistance, which means allowing life to unfold without constantly fighting it. This does not mean you become passive or stop taking action. It means you stop creating unnecessary inner by arguing with reality. For instance, if you are stuck in a situation you don't like, a job, a delay, or a difficult conversation, you can either resist it mentally, complaining and stressing, or you can accept that it is happening and deal with it calmly. The situation may be the same, but your experience of it changes completely. A simple example is waiting in a long queue. One person becomes frustrated, checking the time repeatedly, feeling irritated. Another person accepts the situation, relaxes, maybe observes their surroundings or reflects quietly. The external condition is identical, but the internal experience is entirely different. Another important theme in this part is the awareness of mortality. The book encourages you to reflect on the fact that your time here is limited. This is not meant to create fear, but to bring clarity. When you truly understand that life is temporary, you begin to value each moment more deeply. Small annoyances lose their importance, and you become more focused on what truly matters: connection, growth, and presence. For example, think about how often you delay happiness, telling yourself that you will enjoy life once you achieve a certain goal. But what if that goal keeps moving further away? By remembering that life is happening now, you are more likely to appreciate the present instead of constantly chasing the future. To apply these ideas in your life, start by making a simple commitment. Choose to be open. Throughout your day, notice when you begin to close off, when you feel defensive, irritated, or withdrawn. In those moments, consciously relax your body and allow yourself to stay open. Another practical step is to accept situations as they are before trying to change them. This reduces mental resistance and helps you act more effectively. You can also practice gratitude by acknowledging small moments of peace, connection, or beauty in your daily routine. These habits gradually shift your focus from controlling life to experiencing it fully. Reflect on this. Are you waiting for life to be perfect before allowing yourself to be happy? How often do you let small events disturb your inner peace? What would your life look like if you chose to remain open in every situation? Are you living in the present moment, or constantly postponing happiness for the future? If your time is limited, what truly deserves your energy and attention? Main points and actionable lessons. True happiness comes from your inner state, not external circumstances. Stop trying to control everything around you and focus on how you respond internally. Practice non-resistance by accepting situations as they are instead of fighting them mentally. Choose to remain open, even in challenging moments, rather than closing your heart. Use the awareness of life's impermanence to prioritize what truly matters. In real-life situations, pause, relax, and consciously decide your response instead of reacting automatically. By consistently applying these principles, you create a life of greater peace, clarity, and fulfillment, regardless of what happens around you. As we reach the end of this journey through the Untethered Soul, remember the core message. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Your emotions are energy that can flow freely when you stop resisting. Freedom comes from letting go of inner attachments, and true peace is found when you stop fighting life and start living it fully and openly in the present moment. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better and gave you a new way to look at your mind and life, then take a moment to support the channel. Like this video, subscribe to Visual Books for more powerful book summaries, and share it with someone who might need clarity and peace in their life today.